It is time. This infinite investment game, I talk about alternative investments and collectibles. This is not particularly investment advice, but hopefully you can take this information, become a better collector, but also if you do decide to put money into it as an investment, you'll definitely be smarter with your decisions and more confident. So today I want to talk about, actually, before I even get into this, please like, comment, and subscribe. And before we're just gonna go ahead and go into this. So, what I want to talk about is people have this weird sports card strategy, right? Um, where we're waiting for the World Cup and they're trying to flip stuff for the World Cup. The issue with that is that World Cup, they think a lot of people are going to come in because of the World Cup and want to buy cards. That could be true. A lot of people could want to buy jerseys. A lot of people could want to buy other kind of collectibles, not particularly just cards. And you have to think about the people who may be coming in just because it's the World Cup. They're going to really like, you have to understand that the collectors are mostly born. Most people who are collectors are born. There's a only a small percentage of people who really want to collect cards or collect anything in particular, but specifically cards. Most people aren't going to get into a sport and like, oh, I gotta buy a card of this. Let me spend $100,000, $1,000,000, $10,000, even $1,000 on cards. I mean, even $100. A lot of times, a lot of people don't want to spend that kind of money on a card. Maybe a jersey. Maybe I'll spend $100 on a jersey, but on a card, it doesn't make sense to most people. And that's not really something they're going to keep long term. And most of those people won't be collectors long term. They can get some people into it, you can get some kids into it. Um, and the closest thing is getting kids in long term. Maybe they leave after a few years, and then what they do, they get back into it later on when they're adults and have more money. But if you're thinking, hey, I'm going to buy a bunch of soccer cards and flip it to people during the World Cup, you're probably going to have an issue because if you have cards in the four-figure range, you're probably not have much of a market. And a lot of people who are getting into these different sports aren't really collectors. They're not even long-term investors. A lot of them are flippers, gamblers, speculators, and they're speculating on the World Cup. And they're gonna buy up a bunch of stuff, hold it to right before the World Cup or during the World Cup. Wait, some big news happens or something crazy, and then this person scores a bunch of goals or something, and they're gonna try to sell it. Some of those people may end up getting killed depending on how things are going in the world, just because the World Cup is starting at the end of November in Qatar, which, for geographic purposes, I mean, it's a Middle Eastern country. And if you don't know, I understand a lot about geopolitics, probably because I have a job that kind of control the geopolitical realm for about 4 years when I was in the military, but neither here or there. The real issue is if you're buying soccer cards, you do need to know with the war in Ukraine and Russia, um, there is going to be a diminished export of food because there's fertilizer shortage, and also Ukraine isn't going to be planting this season, and this may have hurt certain Russian crops as well. So that stuff won't be exported. So you're gonna have a lot of countries, a lot of second and third world countries that are gonna go without food or less food. Um, so you're gonna have this issue, which is gonna cause unrest. You kind of already have the inflation issue. So, long story short, the Arab Spring happened in 2011, and believed because of high food prices. Um, okay, so because of this famine that's coming at the end of the year, um, food prices are going to probably, if things triple, they'll be lucky. And during the Arab Spring or right before, food prices tripled. Um, so you're probably gonna have a lot of unrest in the Middle East. I'm not saying that it's gonna get the World Cup is gonna get canceled, but what I'm saying is that we're a little bit uncharted territory because a lot of world events can affect the card world. Specifically, we saw that with COVID. Um, and, it's been positive, but that doesn't mean it's always going to be positive. And the big thing with this prospecting, really the guys that you want to be buying are people who you probably want to hold long term. The John Curtis of the world, the Maradonas, the Pele, Christian Pulisic. Well, nah, no Christian Pulisic. My bad. No Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, people like that. Maybe a David Beckham, but people who are all time, probably more so top 10 all time, or top 20 all time soccer players, vintage cards, or if a guy's currently playing, it's the Messi and Ronaldo angle. Mbappe, he's a little too young. You're gambling with him. There's a lot of speculation with him. Yes, he's won a World Cup, but I think you still have to see more from this guy. So that's something that people need to understand, that he may not be as good as Messi or Ronaldo. He could be. But there's no guarantee. And what Messi and Ronaldo have already done in their careers, and they're still doing some amazing things, you are just making assumptions, and that's kind of baked into the price. And yeah, I just think people are just assuming that people are just going to rush into soccer, and they might, but that doesn't mean that people want to spend thousands of dollars for soccer cards. So you're trying to get buy these cards for thousands of dollars. You may be making a mistake, and especially if it's not like the guys I just mentioned. Even if it's Erling Haaland or Mbappe, things can change pretty quickly. I understand that England and France are some of the favorites to win, and you get some of the star players from those teams. Things can work out well, but I think the way the economy is going, not just in America, but where the world is going, it's going to be a lot less people who generally would be trying to buy stuff for the World Cup to actually do it. So I think that's something to keep in mind. And I think more things that are be more popular, or whatever, is traditionally liked in Qatar. And I don't think sports cars are that big there. So that's something to keep in mind. And I don't think it'd be smart for people to hold stuff for 2020, like after 2022, unless you're trying to like literally hold stuff for like 10 years, 20 years. And American players, I think, is a bad idea because a lot can happen in 4 years. Guys can get hurt. New guys can come out of nowhere, making the old guys irrelevant. I think these are things to really keep in mind. And, I'm just saying for people to really just be careful. And I think most people are assuming that, oh, I'm going to buy, these young guys, Bellingham or whoever, Christian Pulisic, Alphonso Davies, Vinci Jr., any of these, let's say, guys like that, buy up their cards. I'm going to wait before the World Cup or during the World Cup, and I'm going to sell them, and I'm going to make money. Where you could see spikes, but what you could see is card prices continue to decline until right before the World Cup. And then also you have conflict with other things going on. NFL season, NBA season, the end of the MLB season, and people are going to be trying to rush in to buy cards of certain guys just because, like, hey, this is the time, because people are going to be distracted. Survivor Series for WrestleMania, Conor McGregor is probably going to be coming back. So some big UFC always want to have big fights at the end of the year. F1 is going to have some stuff going on. So you're going to have all these things, and you have to really, 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 really understand that people are investing in all kind of cards now. So yeah, if you like the video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and peace.